like have a deck, like an outside deck where we can just if we wanted to ever take the show outside and kind of hang out.
Yeah, it's like the cool teacher who lets you go out into the courtyard and do class underneath the
Exactly.
clouds.
We had that, I think, when I was in fifth grade. Good stuff.
I think somebody still has to be in this room where I'm sitting pushing buttons. So
Yeah, that's
unfortunately,
true.
you can go out and get some sunshine. I'll be here under the skylight.
There you go. There you go. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program on this Thursday. A lot to share with you. The Final Four is upon us. We are less than 24 hours away from the start of the women's Final Four in Cleveland, Ohio. It was Media Day today in my hometown. The ladies were on the dais as we got a chance to hear from them. And as they get ready, it'll be, again, North Carolina State taking on South Carolina, a battle of the Carolinas in one semifinal. And then you've got UConn and Iowa, which is going to be the game that I think ultimately is going to have the most eyes, because I'm not sure there are a lot of people out there that really believe that North Carolina State can beat South Carolina State. And so they're expecting it's going to be South Carolina against the winner of Iowa and UConn. But, hey, again, don't sleep on North Carolina State. They're here for a reason, but not too many people giving them a snowball's chance against the undefeated Gamecocks.
I do have some bad news for you.
What's that?
$2,300 is the average post-market sale price for a ticket.
Ooh.
So I know you've been asking if anybody had any extra tickets because you're going to be in Cleveland anyway. $2,300, apparently twice as much as the average for the men's side.
Yeah, I should have just gone ahead and bought. They still had tickets. Last time I looked, which was several weeks ago, there were still tickets available kind of upstairs in the nosebleeds for like $200. I think it was $275 for the whole. You buy the whole, all three games.
Yeah.
The two semifinals, and it was like, well, do we want to take a chance and buy these tickets, not knowing that, I mean, my wife was going to be there regardless, but not knowing if I was even going to be able to be there for it. It's like, let's just we'll see maybe if we can get some secondhand tickets. And because I wasn't like initially until Arizona lost last week, I was flying out. I had booked a ticket. I'd actually, just to kind of go through this whole scenario, I had pre-booked a ticket for Sunday night to fly out on a red eye in case the Wildcats made the Final Four but lost in the semifinals.
Right. Contingency plans, yeah.
Right. So I'd already bought that ticket.
Now, real quick, maybe remind listeners, not only is it the Garden's opening day, but what is the big event that you're going to go see?
It is the total solar eclipse, which is going directly through Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know if we're going to see it because my wife says that the weather forecast is getting worse and worse by the minute in Cleveland, as you might expect.
Well, let's not talk about the bad side. The good side is you are a big Eclipse fan.
Yeah, but apparently it's not just Cleveland. Apparently the weather forecast for Monday is supposed to be bad in like Dallas and some of the southern states.
Yeah.
That this is going through as well. So
I know,
there might be a whole lot of people that I walked outside today. I'm leaving to come to work at 9:00 this morning, and it's going to be 80% totality here in southern Arizona. And I'm walking out and I'm like, shoot, we might as well just stay here. We can get a clear view of 80% versus going to Cleveland where we might get a clouded view of 100%. It's just going to be just like it got dark in the middle of the day, but you won't be able to see how it got dark in the middle of the day.
I don't know if it's the same storm system, but I did see some images of Pittsburgh being flooded today. Did you see all of that?
No,
Yeah, a whole bunch of interstates got closed because they got 4 inches in the last week. So, yeah, a whole bunch of the country, the right side of the country, should I say, is getting bad weather as we sit in our 83-degree sunny day. I think the idea of planning a trip to go out there and see the total eclipse, I'd rather not talk about weather just because it's such a downer.
Yeah.
I mean, but back to the Final Four tickets for the women's side of things, you got to think of it in terms of some historic events that were taking place, and everybody knew in advance that it was the last. So the last game Coach K coaches at home, right? I mean, he had already announced, previously that it was going to be his final season. So the ticket prices of those, we're talking about the leading scorer in college basketball history playing what could be her final game or games. So the ticket prices, the popularity of women's college basketball obviously is an all-time high right now. And that being said, Caitlin Clark is driving a lot of those numbers because you're talking about going and seeing that 71st home run, that kind of thing. Like knowing that history is taking place right now as we speak and wanting to be a part of that. And that's why I think you're seeing such outrageous numbers for those tickets.
It's going to be interesting, already. The practice day, obviously, all the teams got in town on Monday for that Final Four because it starts tomorrow, and then they've been practicing there in Cleveland. And again, met the media today. Final Four, first semifinal games for the women will be on Friday night, and then obviously the men here in Arizona on Saturday. And apparently, UConn finally did make it here. Is that my understanding, J-Dub, they got here?
Early this morning, yeah. They got there a few hours, not too long ago. And eventually, they found a way to get out of stores and make their way to Phoenix.
Well, that's good.
I do have some comments from Coach Hurley. You want to hear them?
Yeah, because we certainly didn't want it to be the final three.
All right, here's Coach Hurley's comments. Here they are. Yeah, nothing yet. He was supposed to be the fourth coach up on the dais today. I got the other three coaches sound from their times in front of the press answering questions, but to my knowledge, Coach Hurley has not made it up to the press row to take some questions from the press yet today.
Oh, so that was a joke.
That was a joke.
I
have no sound.
Okay.
I do have a joke, a good joke from Nate Oates. You want to hear that?
Yeah, let's hear Nate Oates.
So apparently Nate Oates and the Hurleys go way back and we'll hear a little bit more about that in another thing I pulled, but he's got some jokes because Bobby helped him get his first job in coaching, and so the Hurleys go way back. But these are Alabama's coach Nate Oates' thoughts about the Connecticut Huskies having played trouble.
And it was Nate Oates. Who replaced Bobby Hurley at Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah.
Right, when he left to come to Arizona
Exactly.
State. Yeah.
So here's just his brief comments on the plane issues.
Not quite sure what happened with the plane. It wasn't me. I didn't send anybody over there to mess with the mechanics. I'm sure he's conjured that up in his head already. But I did get a good night's sleep last night, so it's nice. But I'm sure he'll be fired up and ready to go Saturday. It'll be fun, and then we'll touch base after the game.
Yeah, Nate, how many hours of sleep did you get?
I got a solid 7 to 8 hours in a bed, not on a plane.
They got in at 3:13.
That's not fine. I am glad I'm not the ops person for the University of Connecticut basketball team during this trip. That's for sure.
Yeah, you don't want to be an ops person for UConn right now. Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because it can't be a very big airport. We ran the numbers of how small that area is when we were talking about the women's team having to stay in a different city, right? Because they played games there. So it can't be. And so they had plane issues. If people didn't hear the full story yesterday, they had plane issues to start, and then they got a replacement, but then the crew was over their hours, so they couldn't fly out right away. And then there's some more icing issues, apparently. So it's been just a whole fiasco to get the UConn Huskies. You made the joke yesterday about Pima softball being so hot that only rain could stop them. And Connecticut has been, I think their average margin of victory in this tournament is 24, 25 points a game. So,
wow, yeah.
Yeah, only, and Coach Hurley obviously likes to use every small little thing as motivation for his team. So I'm sure they'll talk all about the forces that be conspiring against the Huskies team. But they made it, and they're in town, and they're ready to compete.
Sounds good. Good to see that everybody is here in the desert and ready to go for Saturday night at the Spaceship in Glendale for the Final Four on the men's side. And obviously that's going to be a fun to watch. You mentioned the Pima softball team there, and we had Camila Zapata on yesterday. They're playing a doubleheader today out at up on West Anklam Road against Mesa. They won game one by a score of 8-3, so that is now 17 wins in a row for the Pima Aztecs softball team. Shout out to those ladies because Rebecca Quiros has got it rolling right now up on West Anklam Road. That is definitely good to see. We're going to talk some Arizona baseball today. Brian Jeffries is back on the in the call seat, in the broadcast seat. this weekend as the fellows have, I believe they've already touched down just recently up in Cal Berkeley, up in the San Francisco Bay Area. So Brian will join us from the Bay Area and get us set for that series, as well as we'll rehash what happened last week in Los Angeles with the men's basketball team with Brian as he begins the transition from into his third season, going from football to men's basketball and now to baseball. So we'll have baseball Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday for you. 3-game series, the first 3-game broadcast series of the season here on Wildcats Radio 1290, beginning with coverage at 5:50 on Friday night. So that'll be tomorrow, and obviously we will be out at Champs tomorrow. We'll be out at Champs Kitchen and Bar. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on today. You can come on out and join us at Champs Kitchen and Bar. We'll be out there from 3 to 5:50 tomorrow broadcasting the show. Kelvin Ifan is going to join us. We'll have a number of other guests as well. So a whole lot of fun as we get you set for the Final Four weekend. Women in Cleveland and the men will be here in Arizona up in Phoenix for their Final Four as well. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Also, you're going to hear with Matt Atkins. We had a chance to catch up with Matt Atkins. If that name is not familiar to you, Matt is the new tight ends coach for the Arizona football team. He is also what is called the passing game coordinator. So he is going to be the guy behind helping devise what's happening between Noah Fafita and his receivers this year when they drop back to start airing it out. Arizona, as we like to say here in these parts. So Matt Atkins, will talk a little bit to him about tight ends and the passing game and get his thoughts on working with Noah Fafita and all of that. So you'll hear that as well coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Joining us, as always, is the third member of our program, Cricket. So, all right, I went to see MJ the Musical last night,
yes.
And it was exactly what we thought it was going to be. The dancing was incredible. Incredible dancing all the way across the board, the backups, him. There were a number of Michaels from his child age all the way up to his adult age. The singing, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't as good as The Temptations, which was the last show we saw in November. It was basically like what we heard here. Go ahead and pump that up, DJ.
So beat it, just beat it. You're better when you better do what you can. Don't wanna see no back, don't be.
Yeah, so if I was grading the singing, I would maybe say B minus.
Are you grading based on relative comparison to the Michael Jackson's vocal abilities, or to basically any other show you might see?
I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of both. How much do you sound? He talked like the talking was very much like he sounded a lot like Michael Jackson when he was talking. I would grade it on both. Like, how much do you sound like that person? Also, how much are you a good singer? And so I would kind of be in that B minus category as far as the singing was.
Yeah, he's tough. That's a tough person to emulate.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is not easy.
It's like go pretend you're Mariah Carey type of thing. It's like, okay, I'll try.
Right. But he had the light voice down perfectly when he was just talking, and the acting parts of it. It was one of those.
How was the dancing?
The dancing was great. It was awesome. He was awesome. I mean, he had in terms of like the actual Michael moves, he had all those down.
All the hits.
He had all those down. So yeah. So it was a good show. It was a good show. My wife does not like the acoustics inside of the Centennial Hall. We normally get I don't know if you've ever been to a show at Centennial Hall, but
Probably.
you can get headsets
I got a story.
now. Oh, you got J-Dub's guys.
I was
might have to
working
come back on that.
I was working at Frog and Frickin' one day, and these 4 sorority girls, their 5th didn't show up, and I was just about to get off, and they asked me to go to an acoustic Dave Matthews show with them at Centennial Hall. That might actually be the last time I was at Centennial Hall. I don't know what the acoustics sound like now, but they were pretty good that night.
There you go. I bet they were with a lot of screaming young ladies inside the building.
Well, Dave Matthews was late 90s. So, yeah, he was quite popular at the time.
So we normally get the headsets, but we didn't get the headsets because apparently they were out, or I don't know if they were they only had the blocks, but the actual headsets, they weren't working. They're not in the greatest shape, these headsets they give out. So sometimes I'll take my own headsets. I just didn't happen to do that. It was kind of hard to hear him when he was talking because he was talking so Michael soft.
Yeah.
So that was hard. It was hard to hear him sometimes.
That voice doesn't project.
No, it does not. Does not project at all. And so, but it was a good show. Had fun. Absolutely.
You recommend.
Good to get back. I would definitely see it. Just for the storyline and the dancing and the fun of that part of it. Yeah. If you love the entertainment part of it, I would definitely go see it.
Cool.
So it's here the rest of the weekend. So you can go and do just that through, I think, Sunday. 2 shows on the weekends, as always. All right, getting you home every 20 minutes on this beautiful day is Cricket.
And from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together. With collisions reported Speedway and Campbell, a crash La Cañada and McGee, Sunrise Drive near Skyline, and in Green Valley, Continental Road at I-19, a hit and run. Backups on northbound Oracle at Prince. We've got road work at Prince and Stone Avenue slowing at that intersection, and more road work on Prince Road at First Avenue. 56 clear tonight, 73 tomorrow. Wind advisory 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. tomorrow. Sunny 86 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors. eBay Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need at the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they're guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The very best in play-by-play is on Tucson's best sports station, Wildcats Radio 1290. This is the home of the Wildcats and NFL play-by-play. This is the one and only Wildcats Radio 1290.
The Pima County Fair is back April 18th through the 28th at the Pima County Fairgrounds with food, fun, games, and the craziest new carnival rides. Try deep fried nachos or strap in and take a ride on one of over 50 carnival rides and win prizes with games. Plus daily entertainment, concerts, and more at the Pima County Fair, 11300 South Houghton Road, April 18th through the 28th. Find out more at wildcatsradio1290.com.
And that's why Alaska vacations are gonna be so important.
Sorry I'm late.
Where have you been?
You're gonna love this. Speak for yourself.
Make it quick. We have to remind people that getting an Alaska vacation right now means cool, comfortable air all summer.
Okay, so check this out.
Right, because when Alaskan AC Alaskifies, we do more than just tune up your AC.
Exactly. So my idea is...
we clean, test, tighten, and bring your AC back to the way it was when it was installed.
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking.
People don't realize most of the repairs we do could have been prevented through our thorough Alaskification.
But
best part is, Alaska vacations come with a 1-year no-breakdown guarantee.
But
a whole year of knowing your AC is healthy.
Okay.
And if it's time for a new AC, we built the Grizzly especially for Arizona summers.
I'm going to get the technicians ready to Alaskify the city.
But...
and I'll make sure the dispatchers are getting our people out fast.
But...
cool idea, Gary.
Yeah, Gary. See ya.
Schedule at alaskanac.com.
Elevate your outdoor living space this year using stone. Tanzite has developed stone decking, crafted without any plastic composite materials to redefine durability. Visit tanzite.com to see how stone decking doesn't scratch, stays cooler, isn't slippery, and has all the durability you would expect from stone, which is why it's guaranteed for life. At tanzite.com, you will see how we developed stone to easily transform any ordinary wood deck. You can even make your deck waterproof for a dry space below. Versatile and adaptable, Tanzite is perfect for decks, stairs, over concrete, or ground applications. Visit tanzite.com to start planning your project with a free 3D design and construction plan tailored to your space. Order a sample today to witness the incredible beauty and durability firsthand at tanzite.com. That's TANZITE.com.
This just in, Goodfellas AC is matching up to $2,000 on federal tax credit.
Whoa, seriously? This is unbelievable. I gotta call Floyd at Goodfellas. Hello, Goodfellas. Lloyd speaking.
Is it true about the $2,000?
It sure is. Homeowners like you may qualify for a 30% federal tax credit up to $2,000 on qualifying heat pumps. And Goodfellas will match the tax credit dollar for dollar up to $2,000. Good service, good prices, Goodfellas.
My wife and I both, we ended up mildly sick for a few months, and the nasal congestion was probably the worst part. I had like a post-nasal drip, just super.
Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E.
Wildcats Radio 1290 is everywhere. Wildcats fans can listen to us everywhere on our all-new app.
Now available from the Google Play Store and the App Store for iPhone users.
The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is our phone number. 520-848-1290. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. You can listen to this show on our website, wildcatsradio1290.com. We are also on a number of streaming platforms on the audio side. We are on... what are we on? We are on Odyssey. We are on iHeart. We are on TuneIn. You can stream the audio of this broadcast on any of those. You can also stream us through your local device, such as Alexa or any of those where you can speak to your device and find various audio sources. What's the other one? Google something or other that I don't have. I have Alexa, so I only know about that one. But yeah. Tell Alexa to turn on Wildcats Radio 1290, and you can listen to this program all the time. Also, you're going to want to download our app. Don't forget about our app. Please, you can, in fact, text app, APP, to 520-848-1290. I will send you a link, and you can download our app. That way you can take Wildcats Radio 1290 with you wherever you want to go. There's a lot of, again, a lot of locals. A lot of logos on that app right now. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm fighting with the people over why they've gotten rid of images and gone to logos.
They're calling it the Great Logo Battle
of
2024.
Logo experience. I don't know. It's just, and then the logos are not the same size. It's like, at least if you're going to go to logos, please like make them all the same size so they look like good on my website, but that is what it is. But anyway, right now your top story over there is a recap of yesterday's Diamondbacks loss to the Yankees. In fact, we'll let you hear from Alex Verdugo coming up. Doogie hit a home run in the 10th inning yesterday, a 2-run shot that momentarily put the Yankees on top. Diamondbacks were able to tie the game, though, in the bottom of the 10th before the Yankees won at 11, 6-5. So we'll hear from Alex Verdugo on his first home run as a Yankee. I'm still disappointed in the call by John Sterling. We'll let you hear that again before we hear from Doogie a little bit later on, as well as just kind of we'll get his thoughts on what he was feeling when it was announced at the winter meetings back in early December that he was going to be traded from the Red Sox to the Yankees. I mean, very rarely do you see a guy go from one side of this rivalry, one side of that rivalry to the other. But Doogie will let you know how he initially felt when he heard that he was going to the rival Yankees. Good stuff there as well. Again, 520-848-1290 if you want to get in on the program.
Other baseball news today, DK.
Yes.
The A's are officially out.
Oh.
They're going to play in Sacramento for the next 2 years.
Okay. That'll be the minor league facility up there, which I believe is now their affiliate. The Sacramento.
The guy who owns the Kings also owns the AAA affiliate, and apparently they're friends. He and John Fisher are friends.
Well, there you go.
Now, it's funny you talk about going to a rival with the Verdugo trade because This whole situation is very interesting to me. So, John Fisher is the son of the founders of The Gap, and that's where he got all of his money.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in the early 90s, about 93, 94, he convinced his father to purchase the Giants so they wouldn't move to Tampa Bay. So the Fisher family, Don Fisher and Doris Fisher, and their son John, current owner of the A's, purchased the San Francisco Giants, DK, with the sole intention of keeping them there, which led to Oracle being built and all that, right? I'm sorry, not Oracle. What's the place?
What do they call it now? AT&T Stadium? It used to be AT&T Field, but I don't know what it is now.
The Giants did not move.
Yeah.
In fact, they won championships right after that. Then he had to sell his stake in the Giants in order to purchase his stake in the A's, and not too long after is very interested in moving them. So this story of he convincing his dad to purchase the Giants so they wouldn't move across the country to Florida, and now the A's, who've been there now for 49 years, how many titles do the Oakland A's have during that stretch? A lot of great players, and we all know those stories. And their fans are still protesting outside. So they've officially today announced that they are no longer going to be in Oakland. It's official as of today.
Yeah, again, it's sad. We'll keep an eye on that situation. Like you mentioned, Oakland's a team that is a franchise that's moved a number of times, but has been now in Oakland for well over 40 years. And you hate to see that those types of things continue to happen. They lost the Raiders. The Warriors moved across the bay, but so now they're not really Oakland anymore. They were never. I mean, they were in Oakland, but they were never carried the Oakland name. I think they may have when they initially moved out there.
Well, that's how it was the Golden State, right?
Right.
Not the San Francisco Warriors.
Exactly. So at least they still have basketball. It's just on the other side of the bay now.
Yeah, but good luck getting a ticket because they've marked it up about 500% since they broke the record for the loudest noise ever in an arena. That was 10 years ago in Oakland. So those tickets have been priced out.
I want to talk a little bit about Arizona Olympic sports. The Gym Cats competed in their regional today in Fayetteville, Arkansas, the University of Arkansas. It was 4 teams there. It was Arizona, Arkansas, Kentucky, and, of course, I forgot what the 4th team was. But the Gym Cats needed to finish top 2 out of those 4 in order to make it to the regional final, which is tomorrow. This is the first time in a number of years that the Wildcats have not had to play their way into regional. They got in automatically, and so it did not go as well as Arizona would have hoped. Nebraska was the 4th team there. The Gym Cats finished 4th at the regional with a final score today of 195.6. And we had talked, obviously, about this team all year long. They had been consistently scoring in the 196 realm throughout the year. They'd had even as high as 197. And just to kind of give you a sense of some of the scores that they'd had, the last 4 meets, they had 196.475, 196.875, and 196.9. Those were their last few meets. So 195.6, not exactly what the doctor ordered. In fact, that may have been the lowest score the Wildcats have had all season long. And unfortunately, it came in the regional. And as a result, they are not going to advance to the regional final tomorrow night. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if any of the individual young ladies scored high enough to qualify for the national championships on their own as individuals. So that's kind of how, if you're not familiar with gymnastics, if your team doesn't make it, you still potentially as an individual can qualify for the NCAA championships. But I'm not sure that there's high enough scores in this whole thing for that to occur. Allison Fears, John Cord had mentioned, was somebody that could potentially qualify through. She had a 9.8 today on the beam. She went 9.825 on the floor. She went 9.8 on the vault, and she went 9.85 on the uneven bars. Malia Hargrove, another name that potentially could qualify through to nationals. Unfortunately, she was 9.75 on the floor today, which is a little bit low for her. A 9.775 on the vault for Malia. So the score is just not obviously what the Gym Cats wanted at their regional today, and they are not moving on. The top two seeded teams there, which were the two SEC teams, Arkansas and the Kentucky Wildcats, are moving on to the regional final out of that first pod at the University of Arkansas today. So the Gym Cats season comes to an end today in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We haven't talked a lot about Arizona Wildcats swimming this year, and I just wanted to kind of go through that because their championships wrapped up as well, kind of in the midst and the mayhem that we were involved in the NCAA basketball tournament, so we never really kind of got around to this. But it was not a stellar finish for the swim teams either. The men finished 27th out of 38 teams at the NCAA men's championships this year. That's an event that was won by the Arizona State Sun Devils, the first swimming national championship in the history of the Sun Devils program. You see Michael Phelps starts hanging around. Now, all of a sudden, Arizona State is a swimming school, and they've surpassed Arizona. The women did not point at all at the NCAA women's swimming championships. And this is, when you look at it, it's somewhat of a historic fall for the swimming programs at the University of Arizona. When you go back to the fact that the year before I got here, well, actually the year that I got here, like literally a couple of months before I got here, I arrived in July of 2008, and that was coming off both the men's and the women's programs winning national championships in the year of 2008. Arizona swept the national championships in 2008. But it has been a steady decline for the Arizona Wildcats swimming programs since that time. So you're looking at, what, now 16 years to the fact where, again, and I'll have to verify this in terms of the men's program, but I don't think, 27th, I think, is probably the lowest in terms of points that maybe Arizona men's swimming has ever placed at a national championship, and the women don't place at all. And in the Pac-12s this year, the women were seventh out of 8 teams, and the men were fourth out of 6 teams. They lost both of those in the Territorial Cup setting to the Arizona State Sun Devils, who obviously won the men's title in the Pac-12 as well. So they swept the Pac-12 and the NCAA championships this year, did the Arizona State men. And the Arizona State women finished 5th ahead of the 7th place Wildcats on the women's side. But it's not, I don't follow swimming in its totality. I think we did when there were a lot of swimmers at the University of Arizona that were competing for not only national championships, but were getting onto the U.S. national team and competing in Olympics. But that just has not been the case over the course of the last 6-7 years. I don't know the answer to that. It's something that we're going to dive into on this program to see why U of A swimming is not where it used to be and is not where it needs to be. But this might be rock bottom. This might absolutely be rock bottom for Arizona Wildcats swimming. And, Frank Bush was the longtime coach, and sometimes that happens. They've been through a number of coaches since Frank Bush retired, and a national championship coach, Hall of Fame level coach. His son is now in charge of the program, and unfortunately, Augie has not been able to get it back to that level that his father had it in the late 90s and the early part of this century. So we'll try to figure that out. I'm going to reach out to some swimming folks and see if we can get a clue and get some indication on why this program is not where it needs to be in terms of nationally. And when you talk about the facility that we have here at the University of Arizona, Arizona Wildcats swimming should be a whole lot better than they are right now. If you have thoughts on that, if you're in the swimming community, you have thoughts on why this program has fallen off. When you talk about programs at the U of A, and we'll dive in. We're starting to get to that point of the year. We're going to dive deeply into the Director's Cup, where we stand, where the Wildcats stand. This is one program that used to be perennially top 5 that is now not even pointing on the women's side at the NCAA championships. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. We're going to talk to Brian Jeffries when we come back. Maybe we'll ask, I don't know how in tune Brian is with the swimming program. Maybe he can give us a little bit of an indication on what he thinks about why the Wildcats aren't where they need to be in that respect. Before that, though, cricket gets you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions that are reported at Speedway in Campbell and Speedway Boulevard. We've got Sunrise Drive near Skyline and in Green Valley, Continental Road near I-19. That's a hit and run. We've been seeing backups Oracle northbound at Prince, also at Prince and Stone, as well as Prince and First Avenue. A lot of road work in the area. And I'm Cricket. And your weather overnight, clear skies and 56 a low, 73 tomorrow, wind advisory tomorrow from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. and 86 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Hey, DQ fans. They've got the deal of the century for you. Download the DQ app and get buy one, get one free Blizzard treats. Just like that, you can get any 2 Blizzard treats for the price of 1. Only at participating DQ locations. Happy tastes good.
Champ's Kitchen and Bar has grand opening bracket buster specials all month long, including $5 pizzas, $5 burgers, and $5 pitchers, and more. Champ's Kitchen and Bar at 7625 North La Cholla Boulevard. Cheers to good times, great food, and even better deals at Champ's Kitchen and Bar.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol. When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. Your coworker Kyle said bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive could save you money. Bad news. While saying this, Kyle was eating your clearly labeled lunch. Dumb news. Pizza near work costs $7 a slice, and it tastes like drywall covered in ketchup. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and enjoy more lunches far away from Kyle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
You know it. Your neighbors know it. And let's face it, the mailman knows it too. Your yard just isn't what it used to be. But thankfully, Dorado Rock Materials can get you, well, your yard anyway, back to what it once was, and even better. Dorado Rock and Materials has just what your yard needs, from decorative rock to boulders and everything in between, brought right to you. And if you need help spreading it, we can help with that too. Dorado Rock and Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
With Spring Black Friday savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,000 off select laundry appliances from top brands like LG, America's most reliable line of appliances. And with convenient shopping in-store and online, you can get new appliances with smart, intuitive features any way you want. Like a new LG wash combo all-in-one that can run a full load in under 2 hours. Right now, get $1,000 off select laundry appliances with Spring Black Friday savings in-store and online at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
There are any number of reasons you might consider selling your home. To move closer to family, live within a smaller budget, or just wanting a change of scenery. Whatever your reasons, having to figure out all the various housing market trends in your area may not be what you signed up for. That's where an agent who is a realtor comes in. Realtors have the expertise to help you find the right price and navigate the process to sell your home in a way that's right for you. That's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
If spring allergies keep you trapped inside, then you need Navage Nasal Care to keep you breathing clearly and enjoying all the beauties of spring. Navage helps clear nasal passages that are often clogged because of seasonal allergies. Navage gently flushes a pure, refreshing saline solution through your nasal passages to clear out congestion, sucking out that springtime pollen and other irritants trapped in your nose. Navage is available online at Navage.com or in stores at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Navage, Navage.
Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour. We've got the tickets, and they could be yours.
And I'll write your name.
Start picking out your Eras outfits and making those friendship bracelets, because we could fulfill your wildest dreams with our Tay-Tay Flyaway. Score one of 3 trips, including air, hotel, $500 cash, and 2 tickets to see Taylor Swift on the Eras Tour this fall. Listen weekdays for the national text keywords for your chance to win.
And your text word is Hayes. Text 95819.
Sports fans in Tucson can't survive without 1290. In the fall, we bring you Arizona football, the NFL, and the Super Bowl. Then 1290 brings you Arizona men's basketball. And in the spring, Arizona baseball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babbel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290. It's time for your Arizona Insiders.
Oh, sweet.
Each weekday, Wildcats Radio 1290 brings you all the latest news and opinions on U of A athletics. So bear down, Tucson, and let's talk Wildcats. Our Arizona Insiders are brought to you by Coors Light, official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day in Arizona.
All right. It is time for season number 3 for the voice of the Wildcats, Brian Jeffries. He goes from football to men's basketball, and now he has transitioned to baseball, maybe a week or 2 earlier than he would have liked, because, of course, we all would have liked to have been in Phoenix for the Final Four this weekend with the men's basketball team. Brian joins us from where in the Bay Area right now, Brian?
Or just outside of Berkeley, I believe. I'm not, the towns run together here. So, you cross from one city limit to the next, and, Fremont, Newark, I could go on, and then Berkeley, Oakland, it all runs together for me. Richmond, it just keeps on going. So close enough to Berkeley. That's all that matters.
It's kind of like New Jersey, where you go from one borough to the next borough, and they're all like about 5 minutes apart. So it sounds very familiar.
There you go.
Brian, obviously last week, let's start with basketball. Last week did not end the way that Arizona Wildcats fans wanted to. Just what was your assessment? Was it as simple as what we talked about after the game, that they just didn't make enough shots? Did you detect more to it than just that? How did you kind of break it down?
Well, I looked at 2 things, David. I didn't think that they came out with as much energy as they needed to at the outset of the game, and I think that Clemson kind of sensed that, somewhat grabbed control of the game, kept control of the game throughout. I mean, Arizona had that one brief lead. It's very difficult, I think, sometimes if you don't have all your energy at the outset to all of a sudden flip that switch. Now, I'm not saying that, Clemson didn't have a role in that. They're a very good defensive team, and they had played very, very good defense so far in the tournament, and I think they certainly deserve a lot of credit. But number 2, and Rhino pointed it out several times during the broadcast, when you get into the NCAA tournament, you have to make shots. That's all there is to it. And I don't care who you run into, because once you get to the Sweet 16, everybody's good. In fact, everybody's very good. And so if you don't make shots, you're not going to win games, and that's all there is to it. It's hard to shoot sub 40% and get out of any tournament game with a victory. So I look at it for those 2 things. I think it was more the shooting than anything else, and I'll give Clemson a lot of credit. It's it's hard to imagine that, Caleb Love would have one of his worst games, at least from outside the 3-point line at that juncture. But then again, the hardest part of March Madness is that it is one and done, and you have one game when things just don't go right and your season's over. And that's the hardest thing, I think, to accept, is that only one team gets to hoist that trophy at the end. Everybody else, wishes they would have had one more chance, and you don't get it.
All right, we played two of these teams that are at this party, Alabama and Purdue. Do you think either of those two teams will be able to beat what looks to be just an unbeatable UConn squad right now?
Yeah, I don't know how anybody can beat UConn unless they just all of a sudden have that bad game, and they haven't had one for quite a while. So it would be a surprise to me if they don't win it all again for the second year in a row, simply because they have played so well and they're so cohesive at both ends of the court. So I think it would be an upset if either team wins. I think Purdue's got a great chance to make it a close game if those two end up in the championship, and I think that's kind of what everyone's looking at right now and maybe kind of hoping for. I mean, North Carolina State is the Cinderella story, and it is a great story, and that's what another great part of the tournament is, to see a team that's an 11 seed like that, and everything they had to do at the end of the regular season, or actually in the ACC tournament there, just to get in, and then to do what they've done so far is great to see. Alabama has a tremendous offense, number one scoring team in the nation pretty much the entire season. I think Arizona and Alabama were 1-2 for quite a while there. I just don't know if they have quite enough. It's their first ever Final Four for Alabama, and they do have some veteran guys on that team, but just the same, you get into that atmosphere and you're playing a team that has been there before, then I think that's going to be a tough time. Like you said, who's going to beat UConn? I guess that's the big question.
Yeah, Brian Jeffries, the voice of the Wildcats, is our guest. Brian, the roster reconstruction has started. Paulius Morauskas and Filip Borovichinen look to be going into the transfer portal. I've kind of heard just, since this whole kind of transfer portal started, and in terms of how it relates to the international players, that it's very hard for a lot of these kids to come here to the United States to make that decision, and then to get to a school and not play maybe to the level that they think, or the minutes that they think they're going to get when they come to these schools. How much do you think that plays into maybe those decisions? I would have thought that maybe these guys would have stuck it out and stayed with Tommy in that respect, but I guess there's just so many opportunities out there right now that not even the kids that are coming across seas are going to necessarily stick in one place very long if they're not getting the minutes they want.
Yeah, I think in the case of Borovichinen and Morauskas, I think there's two different stories there. Philip's been in the program for 2 years, and so he's had plenty of opportunities to see what's ahead of him on the roster, and has probably accepted the fact that he doesn't see himself moving into that rotation, and so he wants to go somewhere where he does have a chance to play. I mean, that's what everybody wants to do. Morauskas, that surprised me a little bit, because watching him in practice, I think he's got tremendous potential. And when you run an 8-man rotation, which is, basically what everybody does, he was just on the outside looking in. There weren't any injuries throughout the season, and never had an opportunity to play a lot of minutes or a couple of key games. I remember that he came into that, you could kind of see what the potential he has. So I was a little surprised there. I thought Paulius had a chance maybe to take a look at things. Now, the other half of this is that you can go into the portal. It doesn't mean you're necessarily leaving. And maybe, those guys just want to see what else is available out there before they make a decision. I don't know what's taken place in terms of conversation with Tommy Lloyd and those guys, or any of the coaches. So I'm just, again, speculating that because you put your name in the portal doesn't mean you're necessarily leaving unless that decision has been made behind closed doors. So, you wish them the best of luck. I think that's the downside of the portal these days. I mean, it's good for the players, I guess, although not everyone happens to land on their feet. Some of them find a place where there's more minutes out there. Some of them don't. And so they're taking a calculated risk. They're also, leaving one of the best programs in the country. And so they have to take that into consideration. But, we leave that up to each one of those guys. And if they both decide to go play elsewhere, then you wish them the best of luck. And, Tommy's been able to restock his roster now through 3 seasons. And you already know they've got 4 guys that are committed now for next year. And they're out there looking at some others. And the portal is, got some great talent, as you've probably seen, David. And so, if that's the direction Tommy wants to take, there's some great choices out there.
Brian Jeffries, the voice of the Wildcats, is our guest. All right, Brian, let's talk some Arizona baseball. The Wildcats have won 4 in a row. They're coming off a walk-off series sweep of the UCLA Bruins last weekend. I know you haven't done any of these games so far this year, but just from what you've seen and what you've assessed, how good is this pitching staff right now?
Well, I think a lot of the credit goes to Kevin Vance, the new pitching coach that came in that Chip Hale hired. He has done a tremendous job. And, I was looking through the pitching report, kind of the scouting report on each one of these guys. And as I look through it, I see a number of guys where Kevin Vance has changed their arm slot or changed their delivery. They've gone from sidearm to over the top, or from over the top to more of a sidearm delivery. He was also saying just the other day that, his philosophy is, and I remember there's a lot of coaches who, tell pitchers, hey, throw strikes and trust your defense. And Kevin has a little different look at it. He says, I want our pitchers to strike people out. And he says, I want them to get ahead in the count. I want to see it 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, because, that puts our pitchers at a great advantage. And all you have to do is take a look at Arizona's strikeout to walk ratio right now, which is outstanding. Their walks are way down over a year ago, and really it's been a while since their walks have been at this low of a level, and that tells you right there how strong these guys are. The 3 starters have been nothing short of sensational, and Jackson Kent, who I think has surprised a lot of people because he really didn't stand out last year, but what he did during the off season, credit to him. Again, credit to Kevin Vance and how they've been able to develop him, and then getting Candiotti out of the portal, a guy that's been a starter before, major college level, and Walty, we knew what he was all about. So those 3 guys have been outstanding. The bullpen has been kind of a mix so far, where and Coach Vance even mentioned this. We don't have a closer, but he didn't mean that in a negative sense. He says, we're going to pitch the guys we feel the right situation is to match them with the hitters that they're facing. But they've got a lot more depth in the bullpen this year than they've had the last few years. So, yeah, pitching has been very strong, and now, as we saw this last weekend, they've started to hit the ball better. They've got away from some of those 1-run games that they were losing earlier, and now they're winning them. And so, Chip had preached patience when this season started with some of the new guys in the lineup, and changes to the coaching staff. And I'm not saying that they've entirely turned the corner yet. We're going to find out this weekend a lot more. But if you would have told me 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, that they'd find themselves now 7-5 in the league and above 500 overall, and D1 baseball already has them in the field of 64, then I'd say, yeah, that's a bit of a surprise. But at the same time, that the coaches, they could see what was happening, and now you just hope that they can continue that improvement.
Well, in this era of NIL, I just looked up at my TV and saw a commercial with Mason White in it. How special can that kid be in just his second season with the Wildcats?
Well, yeah, and here's a guy, and he readily admits that he's not necessarily a quote-unquote home run hitter, but he's leading the team in that department, which tells you a lot about, again, he's 5'11", he's 180 maybe, and so guys like that you don't always figure to be power hitters, but you just go back to he had 10 homers last year, and granted he played almost every game last year, but he's gotten off to such a great start. He's hit home runs in his last 2 games. I mean, he is special, and it's great having a local kid, and of course having his dad being a former Wildcat. I mean, that makes it a great story, and I think some of the other guys now, in particular, some of the younger guys that they brought in this year have really helped. And then, Caulfield's off to a good start this year. I think that, Chip had mentioned that they need to get Emilio Corona going. He started to hit the ball better last weekend. And Tommy Splain, those two guys, you would hope. And Splain, again, his average has started to creep up now. And so I think those are the two guys that Chip really wants to see kind of excel here on the offensive end. And if they can do that, then, they've got a chance. And they're in great position right now to find themselves in postseason play.
Yeah, well, this is a big series, obviously, on the road, and you want to continue what you did last weekend to kind of continue that momentum going to, like you said, I said on Tuesday, I think, man, the way the hitting is starting to look, this could be a very dangerous team in about 5-6 weeks with the pitching that they've got this season. Brian, will enjoy your calls beginning on Friday night at 5:50 with Game 1 from Berkeley.
All right. Thanks, David. We'll try and stay warm and dry here and get them all in.
There you go. There you go. Brian Jeffries, the voice of the Wildcats.
Thanks to Coors Light for bringing you today's Arizona Insiders on Wildcats Radio 1290. Coors Light, official corporate sponsors of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day in Arizona.
All right, much more coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll talk some football with Matt Atkins, the new tight end and passing game coordinator for your Arizona Wildcats. It's DK on the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. With some slowdowns, westbound Grant and westbound Speedway both approaching I-10. Also, Ajo and Mission getting busy. Collisions, Valencia and Camino Verde. Bicyclist involved in a crash on Campbell south of Elm was slowing on Campbell. Both directions approaching Elm, and also Silver Bell and Twin Peaks clearing. Clear tonight, 56, the overnight low. 73 tomorrow, wind advisory 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. tomorrow. Currently 86 now, and I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Summit Racing Equipment.
Summit Racing has the parts you need to keep your truck rolling right, from custom grills to tonneau covers and everything in between. Shop summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends April 14th, 2024.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through April 23rd, get a $15 gift card when you buy 5 or more quarts of Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic, only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H test versus API SP test limits.
Are you someone who tries to drive while distracted by your phone? Someone who props it on the steering wheel, or peeks down at it for a glance, or just scrolls and scrolls? If so, you could be the next person to get into a fender bender, get a ticket, veer off the road, or even cause a crash that kills you or someone else. Enough already. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
The Wildcats play here. This is your home of Arizona Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball. This is the home of the Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is Carl's cousin, Eugene Snarkle.
With 2 E's, as in expert.
Yes, Eugene, 2 E's, as in expert on everything. Aided by UberTube.
That's right. UberTube expert. I'm certain I can fix your car and stuff.
Eugene, unwavering in overconfidence, matched only by his ego.
It's effortless, really. I binge on 40 or 50 UberTube videos, cancel all the opposing opinions, grab a bag of tools, toss in a load of potentially necessary parts, and it very well could be repaired. I hope.
Extremely awful idea, Eugene. Instead, explore the option of Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires at one low price with no hidden extras and lots of credible advice.
That seems a little too easy.
Indeed it is, Eugene. Easy solutions to get your car road trip ready. Start your trip online at jackfurriers.com.
For quality auto repair and affordable tires at one low price, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, here to get you there.
Good news, everybody.
We stay on the air with you for an extra 2 hours after every every Arizona football and men's basketball game all season long. That's why we are the home of the Wildcats. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Your home for in-depth conversation.
Nothing they do is by surprise. They telegraph what they want to do, and then they brag about it afterwards. It's a way to keep us at each other's throats.
The most pressing issues.
This was just a white on black crime, and you can already see the narrative starting to form in real time.
And fresh perspective.
The air marshals will not be on the airplanes because they're down at the border escorting illegal aliens to their Ubers.
America's most loved truth tellers live on Tucson's home for conservative talk. This is Freedom 1400.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 85% water, right?
85% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients. Don't pay for water, pay for clean.
Save $10 when you spend $30 on Tide and Downy. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent. Must buy at least one participating Tide or Dreft detergent item, plus at least one participating Downy and or Bounce scent booster, liquid fabric softener, or dryer sheets. Prepaid card by mail. Visit pglaundryrebate.com for terms and conditions.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what?
Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
We do have college men's basketball tonight here in the United States of America. It is the championship of the NIT in Indianapolis, Indiana. And how about this? The home team. The story for a lot of college basketball. Wouldn't this be fun to see the Indiana State Sycamores finish the deal? They have made the run through the NIT. Look at this. I'm just looking at this. Hinkle Fieldhouse is where Butler plays their home games. And this is a decidedly Indiana State crowd, as you can imagine, at this ball game tonight, which is about to tip off between Indiana State, 32-6 on the season. They missed out on the NCAA tournament because they lost the Missouri Valley championship game to Drake, and Seton Hall at 24-12. Back in the day, Seton Hall was a pretty good NCAA basketball program. They had some runs throughout the year. Who was that? Was that PJ Carmelissimo coach there, if I'm not mistaken?
At Seton Hall, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard all of Robbie Avila's nicknames?
Robbie Avila's nicknames? I have not. I just saw a picture of his parents on the screen, but I've not.
The one that's got the most traction is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Cream.
Yes, Cream. Yeah. Larry Blurred is another one. Famously, he wears very, very thick glasses while he's playing.
Okay.
Looks like he should be studying to do your taxes as opposed to dominating college basketball. Milk Chamberlain and Steph Blurry are the other two.
So is he number 21 here with the glasses on then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this was, again, we talked about this a couple months ago. He led Indiana State to their first AP ranking since Larry Bird left campus. And
Right.
that was in 79,
Yeah.
80.
79.
So it had been a minute since the Sycamores, is it? Indiana State
Yeah, Sycamores,
had been ranked, and all due to Robbie Avila. He's a kind of a breakout star there. Quite a few NIL deals with glass companies, from what I understand. Glasses companies, from what I understand.
Awesome stuff. So the NIT championship going on right now. Indiana State, Seton Hall from Hinkle Fieldhouse at the at Butler University in Indianapolis. We'll keep an eye on that game as we go tonight. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. Always great to get a chance to talk to Brian Jeffries in the last hour. Again, he's back on the baseball side this weekend as the Wildcats will be in Cal against the Bears, the Golden Bears from Berkeley, and want to continue this good feeling. You got to continue this good feeling and win a series. You know, you don't have to necessarily sweep it, but let's win a series this weekend and continue to stockpile series, because again, I think this is a team right now that it's putting itself in, and like Brian mentioned, one of the I think it was did he say D1 baseball has them in the field of 64, as we are starting to already get to that point of the year now where the projections are going to come out, and the Wildcats, at least in one book, are in. And this is a Cal team that is 5-7 in Pac-12 conference play. They're 16-10 overall. And so they've got a shot to really do some damage. You got to go and you got to take advantage of these types of situations. The Wildcats tied for third place right now in the Pac-12 conference. Again, they're a game and a half behind Oregon. Oregon is 6-3. Oregon State 5-3. Utah 7-5. Arizona 7-5. And again, Cal is in ninth place because there's only 11 teams that play baseball. And they are in a ninth place at 5-7. So a chance for the Arizona Wildcats to build on what they've started last weekend against the UCLA Bruins. Thoughts on Arizona baseball? We'll talk about that today. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on the program. Arizona softball will also be on the road this weekend. Another opportunity for them to maybe get back above 500 in conference play as they head to Utah. There's some weather brewing. Again, we were talking about weather in the first hour as it relates to the eclipse, and I think some of this is also related to the systems that are starting to develop out here in the West, but there's some weather in Salt Lake City. So they've already switched up this series. It's not going to be 3 games in 3 days. They are going to play a doubleheader on Friday. So tomorrow they'll play a doubleheader in Salt Lake City, and then they'll not play Saturday because Saturday's the day that's projected to be nasty in Salt Lake City, and they'll come back and try to play the final game on Sunday. So that's the plan this weekend in Salt Lake City for the Arizona women's softball team. They are 22-11 overall. They're 5-7 right now in the Pac-12 conference. They're in fifth place behind Stanford, 8-1. Cardinal came in here, took 2 out of 3 over the weekend. Washington, 9-3. Washington beat up on the Wildcats a little bit earlier this year. UCLA 6-2, Oregon 7-4, Arizona 5-7, and then it goes Cal, Oregon State, Utah, and Arizona State underneath the Wildcats. We talked to Kim Doss earlier this week from AZ Desert Swarm. She had indicated in our conversation that it was not likely that Sydney Sumnerdike and Devin Netz would pitch this year, and apparently Caitlin Lowe did confirm that in her press conference earlier this week, that both of those young ladies, the pitchers that you thought that were going to be at the top of your rotation coming into this season, are not going to pitch this year for Arizona. So Aisa Silva and Miranda Stoddard and the rest will have to carry this thing through the rest of the year as Arizona softball tries to play their way into the projections. We'll see if we can take a look and see if there are any of the softball projections are out for tomorrow's show, and if the Arizona Wildcats are included in any of those projections. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Again, Final Four weekend. The ladies play tomorrow in Cleveland. Right now, I want you to hear a little bit from Caitlin Clark, who was at the dais in Cleveland. Let's hear from the best player in college basketball and what she has to say. It's her second trip to the Final Four, looking to close out what has been a historic, record-setting college basketball career with a national championship.
Second row.
Doug Fomberg, The Associated Press. Caitlin, what did you learn last year when you were in this Final Four that you can apply to this year, on and off the court?
Yeah, I think being here last year, you're not really prepared for everything that goes on outside of the game. There's so many distractions. There's so many events you have to attend. There's so many obligations that you have to do. And, your main focus is to come here, and you're playing in the biggest basketball games of your career. So I think being able to block all that out and really lock in and focus on what your job is and what you're here for, and, knowing we're not satisfied. So I think that's the biggest thing, is soak all that in and enjoy it. But at the same time, this is business. We're here to win a basketball game and hopefully win two.
We're going to go to our right. Nancy.
Caitlin. Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. Kind of piggybacking off what Lisa said, so much of the attention has been on you specifically this year. And you mentioned this over the weekend. When you're gone, what do you want to see, and what do you think needs to happen to continue the momentum that women's basketball has seen over the last couple of years?
Yeah, well, I think the parity in our game has certainly helped over the course of the last, 5 years. I think there's always been the Blue Bloods that have been really good, but I think, over the past few Final Fours, you've seen teams that maybe haven't been there in 25, 30 years, and I think that's really good for our game. It attracts new fans. It showcases new players. It showcases new coaches. And I think also the amount of stars we have in our game, especially the young stars we have in our game, I think this freshman class really put on a show this year. They had me watching. They had everybody around the country watching. And I think the beauty is most of them are going to have to stay and play for 4 years. And they're just going to get better and better. Their teams are going to get better and better. And that will also additionally help the parity in our game and attract more people to want to watch. So I think those two things are, the most exciting part about the future of women's college basketball.
We're going to stay to our right with Lindsay. We will come back over to our left after that with James and then Jonathan.
Hi, Caitlin. Over here. Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. To your point about there's all this other stuff going on here, there's a USA Basketball mini camp that you were invited to, but you're busy, so you can't go. Have you talked with anyone from USA Basketball about how you might navigate that going forward? Have you seen, all the players are just walking around here. Has anyone come up and talked to you? Hey, we're ready for you to join whenever you're ready.
Honestly, first of all, I've been lucky enough to play for USA Basketball 3 times on their junior national team, so I know how the system kind of works, and Coach Bluder has coached for them a few times, and anytime you're invited to do anything with USA Basketball, it's a tremendous honor, but, obviously, for me, it was like a win-win, I either doing that or doing this, and obviously this is where my focus was, and I wanted to get back to the Final Four with this group, and honestly, I haven't talked to anybody. I have people that do that for me, and I think growing up, your dream is always to be on the national team and play for the national team, and a lot of those players that are, in that pool or selection of who's going to be on the Olympic team are my idols. Those are people I grew up watching and wanting to be like. So, I think it's more than anything, it's just a tremendous honor to be invited and be on the same list as a lot of those great players.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about this this Final Four on the women's side is they've also got the U.S. national team there this week in Cleveland.
Very cool.
To have all the best women's basketball players in the country training there as they get ready, for their summer tours and whatnot is really fun. Really fun to have all of those great women's basketball players in one place at one time. And like you said, Caitlin might have been there with the women's national team had her team not qualified through, but they're there. So she's having a chance now to win another national championship. We'll hear from the men as well. Kevin Keatts, head coach at North Carolina State, the surprise team there. Really, North Carolina State, the surprise team on both sides to be in this position to win a national championship. We'll also hear from some of the other coaches as well.
I got Dan.
Dan, we got Dan Hurley.
I recorded Dan Hurley's comments during the Brian Jeffries interview. Yeah, nice. So we got Dan Hurley too.
Finally made it to the dais.
Real quick, on
Arizona.
Kevin Keatts, one of my favorite things is his son plays for him. right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, not only that great story of them having to win the 5 games in the ACC tournament just to get in, then unexpectedly winning enough to get to the Final Four, but he's there doing it with his family. It's just such a great story.
Yeah, and DJ Burns, I mean, whew, boy, did he put the Filipowski kid in a box.
Yeah.
In that Duke game.
He's been dominant.
Yeah, fun to watch for sure. All right, getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather is none other than our cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions reported Sarnoff and Broadway Boulevard, Valencia, and Camino Verde. Some westbound and southbound backups at that intersection. Also Silver Bell and Twin Peaks clearing. Heavy backups for northbound Oracle at Prince. More slowing at Stone Avenue in Prince due to roadwork at Prince and First Avenue. Overnight tonight, clear skies, 56, 73 the high tomorrow. Wind advisory tomorrow, 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. 86 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Print Big Sale means the more you print, the more you save. Get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. Offer ends 4/6. See staples.com/print for details. Print more, save more at Staples.
DJ on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
So I wore my fancy new Christmas boots that my wife got me.
Ow, it don't hurt.
Got a cramp. See?
Gotta stretch before you do that.
Oh, my hip.
Stop trying to do crazy gymnastics in the studio.
Wildcats Radio 1290.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9318. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9318. That's 800-575-9318. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
And that's why Alaska vacations are gonna be so important.
Sorry I'm late.
Where have you been?
You're gonna love this. Speak for yourself.
Make it quick. We have to remind people that getting an Alaska vacation right now means cool, comfortable air all summer.
Okay, so check this out.
Right, because when Alaskan AC Alaskifies, we do more than just tune up your AC.
Exactly. So my idea is...
we clean, test, tighten, and bring your AC back to the way it was when it was installed.
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking.
People don't realize most of the repairs we do could have been prevented through our thorough Alaskification.
But
best part is, Alaska vacations come with a 1-year no breakdown guarantee.
But a whole year of knowing your AC is healthy.
Okay.
And if it's time for a new AC, we built the Grizzly especially for Arizona summers.
I'm going to get the technicians ready to Alaskify the city.
But...
and I'll make sure the dispatchers are getting our people out fast.
But... cool idea, Gary.
Yeah, Gary. See ya.
Schedule at alaskanac.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8695. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8695. That's 800-575-8695. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If spring allergies keep you trapped inside, then you need Navage Nasal Care to keep you breathing clearly and enjoying all the beauties of spring. Navage helps clear nasal passages that are often clogged because of seasonal allergies. Navage gently flushes a pure, refreshing saline solution through your nasal passages to clear out congestion, sucking out that springtime pollen and other irritants trapped in your nose. Navage is available online at Navage.com or in stores at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Navage, Navage.
Wildcats fans from coast to coast can bring a little bit of Tucson to themselves wherever they happen to be by streaming 1290 on our website at wildcatsradio1290.com. The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. 520-848-1290. You heard from Caitlin Clark there in the last segment as the Iowa Hawkeyes get ready to take on the UConn Huskies in the Final Four tomorrow night in Cleveland, Ohio. The Hawkeyes knocking out LSU, and LSU lost a player to the portal, Haley Van Lith, the popular point guard who was charged with trying to guard Caitlin Clark the other night. There were a lot of people that didn't understand that game plan because Clark just absolutely lit up Haley Van Lith.
I think she's like
the other
4
night.
inches or 5 inches shorter.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. It was a kind of a mismatch for sure. Kind of a mismatch. So Haley Van Lith is in the portal again. Started her career at Louisville, played a season at LSU, has 1 year left, and we'll try to maybe play that at another place. It was going to be a tough adjustment for her just because she was a volume scorer, a ball-dominant player at Louisville. She was essentially the one that ran the show at Louisville, and then you take her and put her in again, and it's not going to work for everybody. You put her into a system where now she's got to kind of become a system player around other stars, and that's a little bit more tough. There were a lot of people that felt like she should have maybe tried to go to a place like Stanford to play for Tara. She had played with Cameron Brink in that 3-on-3 last year event, and it just didn't happen. She went to LSU to try to win a national title and just couldn't get them there.
She's great. I mean, she really stood out. You know who ended her Louisville career? That would be Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
right.
the Iowa Hawkeyes defeated Louisville in her final game in the Elite Eight. She had 27 in that game, held Caitlin Clark to 41. So same kind of story. 2 years in a row. I don't know how much. I watched that game. I don't remember how much Haley Van Lith was on Caitlin Clark that day.
Right.
But again, Caitlin Clark's every bit of 5'11", 6 feet tall, and Van Lith's more like the 5'8" variety.
Haley Van Lith in Tucson for U of A? I don't know if that would be a fit. I don't know if that would be a fit with Jada, and then you've already got the guard coming in from North Carolina who is a point as well. So I don't know. But again, she's hugely popular. She would be hugely popular and raise the profile of this program. And it's very interesting, and we'll let you hear maybe later in the show in our later on in our Desert Diamond Casino replay. I want you to hear the comments in the 5 o'clock hour from Angel Reese after their loss the other night. We never did get to these, and I've got some thoughts on what she said and where the women's game is now as it relates to star players, and how I kind of feel like, man, I would have loved to have seen Aari McDonald in this era. Because I kind of feel like the run she had with this program got lost because it was in the bubble somewhat. I mean, granted, it was a national run and people were talking about it, but it didn't necessarily have the same flair because there was nobody in the building except for the families.
That's 100% true. And I will say this. I think that Aari's name became national in that she beat a completely healthy Paige Beckers.
Right.
Who Paige Beckers was the face of college basketball before Caitlin Clark started putting up these astronomical numbers 3 years ago. It was Paige Beckers who was the number one recruit coming out, going to the number one college in America, UConn and all of that. So I remember that game in particular, all anybody could talk about was Aari McDonald after that game. But you're right. I mean, now that we're in the NIL era, and obviously, a certain four-letter network has all the rights to women's basketball and has really been pumping it up quite a bit these last few years, DK, because they don't have rights to any of the men's games. So because the women's game is such that they have to stay 4 years in college, they're not eligible for the WNBA draft until they've exhausted their college eligibility. You have a lot of players who can make a splash as a freshman, sophomore, and continue to build that name recognition through the course of their 4-year career. And here we are. I mean, Caitlin Clark's numbers speak for themselves. She's broken every single record in college on the men's or women's side. So everybody knows what's happening there. I just think that's lightning in a bottle thing. I think with Aerie, it was just they weren't expected to make the Final Four that year.
No.
Right? And so that was that more like the North Carolina State underdog type of thing where you have a school that has a great coach and great players, but maybe wasn't expected to make such a deep run, and then they beat UConn. That was such a great story. I think people still know. I think people around the game who follow know who Aerie McDonald is.
Yeah. All right, let's shift to the Final Four here in the state of Arizona. It was press conference day as well up in Phoenix for the fellas. And let's first hear from Kevin Keats. North Carolina State, they are the surprise team on the men's side. They're an 11 seed. They're in the Final Four for the first time since they won it all and beat Houston in 1983. The great Jim Valvano team. Lorenzo Charles with the rebound slam to end it and beat Phi Slamma Jammin, the Houston Cougars. And Kevin Keats talked today on being in the Final Four and having to face Zach Edey and on what makes his big man, DJ Burns, so special.
Well, the Wolfpack are here, and I'm so excited for our team. And we're probably a little different than everybody else that's here in the Final Four. We talked about coming here and having a lot of fun, and then obviously getting down to business when we have to. But I love the way our team's playing. I don't know that anybody has ever had 9 elimination games to make it to the Final Four. Started back in D.C. and winning the ACC tournament, and obviously we have continued to play really well in the NCAA tournament, and we've done it with defense and a couple DJs who have really played well, and love that part about it. But my team's playing with a lot of confidence, and we're going to play a very good Purdue team, and we'll be challenged again. So, questions?
Obviously, DJ has been the center of a lot of what you do, passing and scoring, but Zach Edey is a guy that's also space eater, takes up a lot of defensive attention. Donovan Clingan for Connecticut. We've got all this talk about positionless basketball, and yet there's some almost classic throwback bigs here. Like, what does that say about the role of the big man in today's game?
Well, I think everybody probably need to go out and get a big guy now. These are trends, and it was trending towards nobody would play with their back to the basket, and here in the Final Four, 3 guys have led their team to the Final Four because of the way they play, and all 3 of those guys are really good. I'm excited about DJ Burns, some great touch, lefty, willing passer, and then obviously we're going to play against Zach Edey, who, if you ask me who keeps you up at night right now, is Zach Edey. He is he's playing at a high level. He can really score the ball. We got to get him out of the lane where he lives in that lane, and he's really talented, and where he's become a lot better is he passes the ball a lot. But when you lose traditional post, and most times we got 3 teams that have 3 guys who are really, really good.
To that point, DJ, of the 3 bigs that we just talked about, so unique in the way that he does things. In terms of players you've coached throughout your career, where would you put his unique skill set?
Yeah, I was thinking about that's a great question. I was thinking about that the other day. I don't think I've ever coached a guy like that in my life. And, obviously the transfer portal is open now, and my coaches are like, all right, we got to find DJ Burns. They're like, you're not going to find DJ Burns anywhere else. Lefty, great touch, tremendous personality, doesn't really catch the ball in the post, but he ends up around the basket. I don't know that there's ever been a guy like that before. Like the guards get so mad at him because they don't get assists because he dribbles, 6 times to get where he needs to be. But he's a throwback, and if anybody, I know some guys in here have had a chance to spend a little time with him. What a tremendous personality. We were up 10 against Duke with about a minute to go. And as a coach, I'm like, I'm locked in. It's a minute to go. Anything can happen. And he's over there yelling to the fans and let's go and let's go. And I'm like, no, you need to lock in so we can finish the game. So he's about as unique as you're ever going to get. And I'm glad that everybody on the national stage is getting the opportunity to meet DJ Burns.
Yeah, it's Kevin Keatts, and Kevin Keatts is the head coach of the North Carolina State Wolfpack, and they will be appearing in the Final Four for the first time again since 1983. Now, Kevin Keatts had more to say. Again, this is a team that was not in line to go to the NCAA tournament when they got to the ACC tournament and were faced with having to win 5 games in 5 days, which to me is just still incredible when you talk about these. We talk about multi-team events that we see in the preseason, but those are like 3 games in 3 days. Some of these tournaments, like the Pac-12 tournament, where if you don't get a bye, you have to win 4 games in 4 days. But to think that you have to win 5 games in 5 days is just insane to think that a team would have to, one, go through that and be able to come out on the other side successful. But that's what this North Carolina State team has done. They've won 9 games in a row, 5 at the ACC tournament, 4 here in the NCAA tournament. And Kevin Keatts talked about kind of how this whole thing got going and how luck has played such a huge role in it.
A couple guys in the locker room mentioned that you told them before the ACC tournament to bring something lucky. Cam Woods' headband, I guess, has made some rounds. Have you ever done that before, and how has that maybe brought your team together a little bit?
No, I haven't, and I'm shocked that they listened to it too. But I did. I said, it's hard. We think about us now. We started off 5-1 in the conference, and we lose our last 4. And everybody loses their mind, but our last 4 games were really tough. And so going into the tournament, I needed something else other than, hey, we're a good basketball team, because we knew that. You got to bring something lucky. And it's funny when you talk to guys, what's lucky to them, what they brought, to the ACC tournament, and whatever works, but it's working,
Obviously a big moment for you and your team to be to the Final Four, but you have a son on the team. You have your whole family here. Just how big a moment is it for the family, Keatts, to all be here for this?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I got my lovely wife, Georgette, who's over there, who is, followed me every step of the way. I'm blessed. I really am. This is my 3rd Final Four, 2 as assistant coach, and then obviously having a chance to do it as a head coach. But to have, one son on the team who I get a chance to share this special moment with every single day, and to have my other kid, Caden, here, and my wife, Georgette. I mean, it's family is so important to you. It's a very valuable thing. I don't know if you guys have ever had a chance to experience something this big, but to have your support group, and my wife is a complete coach's wife. She understands, she's telling me after the game or at halftime, if she could, what I need to run and everything else. So you've been married for 23 years when that happens, and but it's special. I don't know how to put it in words that we're surrounded by. I'm surrounded by some great folks, and my family means everything to me.
All right, that is Kevin Keatts, the head coach of North Carolina State. Good stuff today up in Phoenix. The Final Four, the men's side, will be on Saturday. I had only one pick of my bracket that got to the Final Four, and that is the Purdue Boilermakers. We'll hear from Matt Painter coming up, as well as Dan Hurley a little bit later as well. 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on the program. We're going to talk to Matt Atkins, the tight end coach and passing game coordinator for the Arizona Wildcats. Wildcats are back on the field. They've been back on the field since about 3:45 today for practice number 5 of spring football camp. 5 of 15 practices. They'll have another one on Saturday, and then they'll be back at it next week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday as well. We'll chat with Matt Atkins about tight ends. That's a huge position in terms of what I like to see on the football field, how they're used, and we'll get an indication of what we might see from the tight end position under this new regime with Brent Brennan, Dino Babers, and Matt Atkins at the controls of the passing game in this offense. Cricket, though, is first getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. Still heavy backups on northbound Oracle, approaching Prince Road, backed up to nearly Miracle Mile. Maybe use Fairview instead. More backups at Prince and Stone Avenue and Prince Road. That's due to road work. Most of those backups northbound, southbound, and westbound. More slowing at First Avenue and Prince due to road work. And collision clearing Valencia and Camino Verde. And at Cortero and I-10, the railroad crossing signals are in flash mode. Clear 56, overnight 73 tomorrow. Wind advisory 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. tomorrow and 86 now. And I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Big O Tires. On the road, there's just one place you're sure to see a friendly face when you walk in. It's Big O Tires. And now get $80 to $120 instant savings on 4 select in-stock Nexen, Nero, Toyo, or Hankook tires with installation purchase through April 21st. See store for details. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
This is Carl's cousin, Eugene Snarkle.
With 2 E's, as in expert.
Yes, Eugene, 2 E's, as in expert on everything. Aided by UberTube.
That's right, UberTube expert. I'm certain I can fix your car and stuff.
Eugene, unwavering in overconfidence, matched only by his ego.
It's effortless, really. I binge on 40 or 50 UberTube videos, cancel all the opposing opinions, grab a bag of tools, toss in a load of potentially necessary parts, and it very well could be repaired. I hope.
Extremely awful idea, Eugene. Instead, explore the option of Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the local's choice for affordable tires at one low price with no hidden extras and lots of credible advice.
That seems a little too easy.
Indeed it is, Eugene. Easy solutions to get your car road trip ready. Start your trip online at jackfurriers.com.
For quality auto repair and affordable tires at one low price, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, here to get you there.
You know it. Your neighbors know it. And let's face it, the mailman knows it too. Your yard just isn't what it used to be. But thankfully, Dorado Rock Materials can get you, well, your yard anyway, back to what it once was. And even better, Dorado Rock Materials has just what your yard needs, from decorative rock to boulders and everything in between, brought right to you. And if you need help spreading it, we can help with that too. Dorado Rock Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
And that's why Alaska vacations are going to be so important.
Sorry I'm late.
Where have you been?
You're going to love this.
Speak for yourself.
Make it quick. We have to remind people that getting an Alaska vacation right now means cool, comfortable air all summer.
Okay, so check this out.
Right, because when Alaskan AC Alaskifies, we do more than just tune up your AC.
Exactly. So my idea is...
we clean, test, tighten, and bring your AC back to the way it was when it was installed.
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking.
People don't realize most of the repairs we do could have been prevented through our thorough Alaskification.
But best part is, Alaska vacations come with a 1-year, no breakdown guarantee.
But
a whole year of knowing your AC is healthy.
Okay.
And if it's time for a new AC, we built the Grizzly especially for Arizona summers.
I'm going to get the technicians ready to Alaskify the city.
But...
and I'll make sure the dispatchers are getting our people out fast.
But...
cool idea, Gary.
Yeah, Gary. See ya.
Schedule at alaskanac.com.
Introducing Tanzite Stone Tile Flooring, a game changer in the tile industry. Say goodbye to the trade-off between durability and easy installation with Tanzite's revolutionary indoor-outdoor stone tile. Visit Tanzite.com to see how our tile is installed without concrete or mortar. Instead, our innovative rubber gasket system connects the tiles together. Each tile coming pre-assembled, you simply grab one and place it. No expertise needed. At Tanzite.com, you can see how our foam back tiles contour to cover any existing floor while insulating against sound and cold. Beautiful and versatile. Tanzite tile adapts to indoor or outdoor use, from kitchens to patios, on concrete basements or wooden decks. All with the durability of stone that's guaranteed for life. Witness this innovative product yourself and order a sample today at Tanzite.com. That's TANZITE.com.
The Wildcats play here. This is your home of Arizona Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball. This is the home of the Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
Champs Kitchen and Bar is the new go-to spot for sports and fun here in Tucson. Hey, it's David Kelly. Come on out and see if the national champion in basketball, men or women, is going to be the player or the team that you thought was going to win that championship. It's their newest location, 7625 North Latoya Boulevard at the old Foothills Mall. It's their grand opening. They're running $5 Madness specials through Men's National Championship night. That'll be Monday, April the 8th. These are slam dunk deals you don't want to miss. I'm talking about $5 Madness, $5 pizzas, $5 burgers, $5 pitchers. That's what I'm talking about. $5 Madness special. So whether you're a fan of the game, just looking for a good time, grab your friends, try the new MVP of sports bars. Here in Tucson, it's Champs Kitchen and Bar. We're going to be bringing the show to Champs tomorrow. Join us from 3 to 6. We'll be at Champs getting you all ready for a huge weekend of college basketball. Champs Kitchen and Bar, 7625 North Latoya Boulevard here in Tucson.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Arizona football back on the field over at the complex. Practice number 5 of 15 in the first spring camp of one Brent Brennan. He has brought with him from San Jose State a number of coaches, including a young man by the name of Matt Atkins. He is the tight ends coach. He is also the passing game coordinator for your Arizona Wildcats, and we had a chance to catch up with Matt to find out who he is and what his football philosophy is all about. Spending a few moments with new tight ends coach Matt Atkins for the Arizona Wildcats. And first, Matt, welcome to Tucson.
Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Okay, so tell us how these first few weeks with this new regime have been here inside this building.
Hectic. Well, not hectic in like a bad way. It's just, moving is the worst of all time. And then, obviously I came from San Jose State, and there's a couple guys here that I have a lot of history with. But getting to know Bobby and Dino has been great. It's been awesome working with them. And it's always kind of like, it's fun and exciting when you're first starting. Everyone's getting to know each other. Everyone's bringing a lot of ideas to the table, which I find to be really fun, hearing other people's perspectives. But yeah, it's been a little hectic, but I'd say mostly fun.
So let's talk about San Jose State, what you guys built there, and how that's going to carry over here to Arizona, and what you guys hope to do.
Well, obviously we're proud of what we did at San Jose State, and I think we did a great job of creating a good culture over there, obviously spearheaded by Brent. I think, but every situation is different. And even our time at San Jose State, the program didn't look the same every year, right? Variables change, the roster changes, and really I think it's about keeping your knees bent and adjusting when things pop up. And so I know that at the core of a Brent Brennan program is a culture of love and family, and I know that we will try and get that accomplished. But there'll also be a lot of things that are different. I mean, the landscape of football has changed too, right? I mean, with NIL and with the transfer portal, right? Like, it's constantly evolving. And so I think it's more so about solving problems here than necessarily just trying to carbon copy what we did at San Jose State.
So let's start with the transfer portal. How do you guys attack that in this new era now?
Well, I'll tell you this from my perspective, right? And there's different people in this program that have different responsibilities with that. For me, the transfer portal and NIL is All I'm trying to do is build a real authentic relationship with my players where they feel like they're getting developed and they feel like there's a personal connection. And now there's other people that have different involvement in how that goes. But for me, I know that if I can make them feel like they're getting developed really well here and they feel a personal connection, that they will want to continue to be a part of this program.
All right, so what's the role of the tight end going to be? Because that's important for me. We went a lot of years here where we didn't use the tight end at all, and then we had a pretty good one the last 2 years that got a lot of work. So what's going to be the role of the tight end in Dino and Brent's systems?
Yep. So obviously my hope is I want us to be a big pivotal part of it, and I want it to be an exciting brand of tight end play, which, you know, at different levels, you're starting to see a lot of really fun tight end play. Obviously, the NFL has a handful of guys doing really fun stuff. There's been guys in the college landscape that have done great stuff, and I want to bring that type of tight end play here. And, you know, I have a history of doing that. We played with tight ends every single play at San Jose State. We threw them a ball a lot, and on 3rd and 1, we asked them to cut off a defensive end to try and get us a first down, and I hope to bring that here. Now, it's my job and the players' job throughout spring ball and fall camp to create the trust and confidence from the rest of the staff that makes the most sense for our offense.
Okay, so in terms of guys that you like that maybe fit in what you do, who are some of those guys, maybe whether it's on the NFL level or guys that have played in college that we can look at and say, okay, that's kind of maybe what we might see here?
So this is a great question, and I get it all the time, and I'm going to give you an answer that doesn't make any sense for your question. All right, so when you look at like the Avengers, right, every single guy has a different superpower, right? There's not two Hulks. There's a Hulk, and you got Captain America, and you got Iron Man, and you got Thor, and all that type of stuff. The tight ends are, to me, the same exact way. There's not one model, right? George Kittle isn't as tall as Gronkowski. He's a little bit stronger, can bend a little bit better side to side. Obviously, he's a fantastic player. Rob Gronkowski was fantastic. Not real good side to side, but he could use his size. And so the tight end position there's so many different attributes that can be used to make a really, really good tight end. And what I want to do as a coach is never just try and get one guy, try and find the most competitive guys that I think bring a skill set that'll help us, and then try and utilize their skill set, which might be different year to year. Like Tanner was a fantastic player here. And some of the guys I have here I think will be fantastic players here, but their skill set's not the same. So the way that I use them might not be the same, even though I might have used Tanner the same exact way that they did before, if that makes sense. But I'm not trying to find one model of guy.
So who do you like to watch then? Who are guys that you like to watch? You mentioned Kittle.
The easiest one is Kittle. Yeah. And the only reason why I say Kittle is because he does so much in the run game. And so I think that he's a great, for college-age tight ends to look up to, because there's some really great tight ends who kind of play wide receiver. And there's George Kittle, who is explosive in the pass game, but also really, really good in the run game. So I'd say he's probably the one that comes to my head.
So what are the core things you want from a tight end in the run game?
Well, it's all technique and fundamentals, right? So we're talking about footwork, we're talking about hand placement, we're talking about physicality and finishing. And so I'm going to work my tail off over this next month and a half to try and get all of those developed and get ingrained in their muscle memory. I don't want I want our guys on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 for us as a coaching staff and the rest of the team to have confidence that we can go behind them and get a first down in a really critical situation.
So what are the key pieces right now as you guys are ramping up for spring and what you're doing, watching film, and instructing guys?
Great question. So right now I am trying my best to develop as much muscle memory as I can in these kids with their footwork, with their hand placement. So we are doing a bunch of drills trying to just get it to where their bodies take exactly the first 2 steps that we want to see, and their hands are exactly in the right place, so that when we start playing, there's already some muscle memory established. And then outside of that, we're doing a lot of stuff just trying to get the offense down, watching film, meeting. We're on the whiteboard all the time.
What's your background in terms of why you wanted to get into coaching? You said your dad was a coach?
I'm a 3rd-generation coach.
3rd generation, wow.
I had no choice. My older brother, it was either him or me, and he got out of it. He's smart. And then, but I grew up around it, and football is just kind of the family trade, and I didn't really have a choice.
So did you play tight end?
No, look at me. No. I was a pocket quarterback at the NAIA school. That's what I always start the first time I meet him, I'm like, hey guys, I'm just giving you a heads up. I've never blocked anyone before, and I'm not going to act like I have. Like, I'm going to be transparent about this. But no, people ask me that all the time. It's like, if I ever played tight end? No, I'd never play tight end.
So are you one of those coaches that wants to obviously know all the different positions and as you grow as a coach?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I worked the offensive line, the running backs, the wide receivers, the quarterbacks, the tight ends, been an offense coordinator, been a head coach, worked with the safeties, worked with the linebackers. So like, I'm a football nerd.
So what's the most fun for you?
The most fun when you have a really good player. It doesn't matter which position. Tight end is fun in the challenge, right? Because I've got to get this guy to run past that safety and have him understand how to do it and attack the ball and fundamentally catch it right. And then on the next play, I've got to block their best defensive end. And so in terms of the challenge of it, it's extremely challenging because I have to do what Bobby does and I have to do what Josh does. And so that at times is really challenging and fun, and at times you're like, God, I wish I was just coaching different positions. I'm just kidding, but at times you're like, holy cow, there's a lot for me to cover with these guys before we go out here.
So as passing game coordinator, define that for people that maybe don't understand what your role is.
So my job is to oversee the pass game, and so when we're talking about like scripting stuff for practice, or we're talking about like the operational and logistical pieces of that, and then to obviously have an opinion and to help us guide the direction just philosophically that we're going in. And, obviously we have great coaches for each position group, but to still be involved with them and to still be around Bobby's guys and make sure they know that I'm somebody that if they need guidance or they need understanding or they have a question, like I am open to anybody in the throw game.
So what's your early excitement with your quarterback, Noah Fafita, and your wide receiver, Tetsuo McMillan, probably the two most popular guys on this team?
Yeah, I mean, they're just really good at football. Yeah, it's cool to have.
Simple as that.
It's cool to have good players. I think just getting to know them, getting to know their personalities. They're both really cool kids, which is like, as a coach, that's what you want. Like, you want good players, but you also want cool kids. I mean, we spend so much time with these kids that like you want it to be a person that you want to be around and you enjoy spending time with. And both those guys are awesome young men. And Noah's just, he is scary sharp when it comes to football stuff. So it's been awesome getting to work with all those guys.
Matt, best of luck here.
Appreciate it, brother. It was good talking to you.
Matt Atkins, he is the new tight ends coach, passing game coordinator for your Arizona Wildcats. And you got to love these superlatives for one Noah Fafita. He is scary sharp.
He would know, right? I mean, one of my favorite parts of that interview is you said, hey, so did you play tight end? He's like, I was a pocket quarterback.
Quarterback at NIA.
Pocket quarterback at NIA. I've never blocked anybody.
Right, exactly. Oh, man. Funny guy. Good guy to have.
Great
on
interview.
this offensive side of the ball for the Arizona Wildcats. Again, they are in practice number 5 right now of spring practice. I believe we'll probably hear, I think we heard earlier in the week from the running back, so we'll probably hear from the defensive side of the ball today, and maybe even the linebackers. They usually group the running backs and the linebackers together. Danny Gonzalez is over on that side of the ball, spent a number of years as the head coach in New Mexico, was the head coach of the Lobos last year before that situation ended for him. And again, it's something we've been talking about, how you've got a couple of guys on this staff who were Division I head coaches last year. In Danny Gonzalez on the defensive side of the ball and Dino Babers on the offensive side of the ball. Babers having been the head coach at Syracuse. So there's a lot of really good coaching talent on this Arizona Wildcats staff, this first staff for Brent Brennan. And it's going to be fun to watch how it all comes together this season. All right, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Lots still in store for you to come up in the 5 o'clock hour. Alex Verdugo of the New York Yankees out of Saguaro High School hit his first home run for the Yankees yesterday. We'll let you hear from Alex. The Diamondbacks are off today as they get ready for their road trip, which will start in Atlanta tomorrow night. We'll give you your Diamondbacks download and also your question of the day. We'll give you that when we come back as well, because that has got a Diamondbacks slant to it. If you want to go and see what it is before I tell you on air, you can head on over to our Twitter page at Wildcats1290 and look for that there. Also, we've got, I believe, a still running question of the day, our most recent from Tuesday. So if you want to go and you still have a few days to vote on that, and that's the one that's concerning the president of the University Robert C. Robbins, who is stepping down, and whether or not you believe that he was good for sports, good for athletics. Was he right now? So you still got 3 days left to vote on that one. And right now it is still 82-18. 82-18 in favor of Robert C. Robbins was indeed good for Arizona athletics. He showed up to games. He cared. 82-18 good versus bad, that he was too much of a meddler in athletics. So still time to go and vote in that poll over there over at Wildcats 1290 on our Twitter account. It is DK on the Sports Tip. Also, I'm told Cricket's got tickets coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Not only does she have tickets today, but I'm told she's got a whole bunch of tickets tomorrow. Well, I'm not going to tell you about tomorrow, but I heard there's a very interesting name tied up in tomorrow's tickets that Cricket is going to be giving away while we are live down at Champs Kitchen and Bar. We'll dive into all that in the 5 o'clock hour. It's DK on the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Backups southbound Camino Verde approaching Valencia. Westbound Valencia at Mission might be a collision there. Normal slowdowns Ajo Way and Mission, also for southbound La Cholla at Ajo Way. We've got possible collision at Prince Road on Prince, west of Flowing Wells. Kolb and Speedway, traffic signals malfunctioning. Heavy slowing northbound Oracle as you approach Prince Road. Maybe try Fairview instead. More backups at Stone Avenue in Prince due to road work, and more road work at Prince Road and First Avenue. 56 and clear tonight, 73 tomorrow. Wind advisory 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. tomorrow, and 85.